Importing media into Premiere Pro is not difficult. There are a lot of different ways to do it. And depending on exactly what type of footage you've shot, it might look a little different. So that complicates it a little bit, but overall, it's not difficult. And what I want to do in this video is, because there are so many ways you can do it, I want to highlight what I think is just the simplest, easiest way to do it, which is to move the media first to your hard drive and then import it into Premiere Pro with a drag and drop. Again, there's lots of different ways to do it. There's whole dedicated windows, dedicated programs, different ways to move the media and tag it and things like this. And at a more advanced level, you may want to do that, but this is just the easy way. Okay, so I already have plugged in my drive. I recommend you use that external drive. You can do this on your desktop or whatever, but you're going to fill up space really quickly. So I recommend having that external drive. And I have my SD card here, and I'm going to share the screen and pop it in, and you should see it pop up. Okay, so now you see highlighted both our demo drive, and that's our card. So if we take a look at this, I've already set up a little folder here. I probably put all this in a folder called demo. But I already have a project started called demo, and I have an empty folder called media to put the media in. And then this folder is automatically generated by Premiere Pro, and it's making auto-saved copies, which is not a big project, so not that important, but good to know that Premiere Pro makes various auto-saved copies. Okay, so then here's our card. And depending on exactly what camera you're using and exactly what format you shoot, this may look slightly differently. This is our Panasonic camera, and I'll show you in a second, I've purposely shot two different formats so you see how they look slightly differently. And then if you're on a Sony camera, if you're using a phone or something like that, the steps are going to be similar. It's just the details might look slightly different. So depending on exactly the camera, you sort of have to dig and figure out where your stuff is. And if you go through each of these, most of them are empty. And if you do something different on the camera or use a different device, things may show up in these folders. But in this case, all of our video on the Panasonic is in this private folder, and then this Pana group. And then if you dig further, there's two folders. And the reason there's two folders, the way this camera does it, is it makes a different folder for a different format. So I shot some on a 1080 format, that's these .movs, and then I shot some in a 4K format, and that's these. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to show you some, but not all formats will show up here in the Finder, and you can open in QuickTime, and then some will not. You still see the QuickTime icon here, but QuickTime, the program's not able to play these. That's okay. There's still good video files, and we're going to be able to use them. I just wanted to highlight that for you, both that you may have to dig a little bit and look, and not all video file types are playable in the regular Finder. We have to open Premiere Pro to play those. Okay, so here's the key to the whole process, is to manually move the media. Rather than counting on a program to do it or not knowing exactly where it goes, the first thing I do before I go to Premiere Pro is any footage I want to use, I drag it across. And you know what? I'm going to take both of these folders whole, and I'm going to move them both across to my media folder, doing just a manual copy. A couple notes here. First, this is a great time to make a safety copy or a backup. You could do that by uploading to Google Doc or Dropbox if the files aren't too big, or if you're on a team, you should absolutely share this footage across the other drives as well. So you copy it to your drive, you copy it to someone else's drive. And even if you do all of the work on one drive and you come in as a team, you want to have that backup copy in case something goes wrong, the dog eats the drive, whatever. And then the second note is, if you're bringing in something from your cell phone, things might be a little different, but not that much. Most cell phones don't mount as a drive. You can't drag and drop, but we have different utilities like AirDrop on the iPhone works pretty well. And then there's a utility a lot of people don't know about called Image Capture. There's a program on all the Macs called Image Capture. And unlike using iTunes or whatever to sync your phone, Image Capture will actually let you open up the phone and import what you want. So some important things to know there. Okay, now that that's done, we don't even need this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead. I've got it copied. At this point, I would probably even eject this so there's no confusion. The copy you want to use now has been moved to your external drive. And I would usually just leave this as is. If you're going to change the names of anything, like if I want to go ahead and call this the 1080 format, like that's all my 1080 footage. And this is all my 4K footage. Those are the two formats I used. I'll do a movie about formats separately. I might do that level of organization, or if I had dates, if I had more than one thing, I might make a folder for the date and then put the 4K and the 1080 footage for that date together, keep it organized. But the real step I want to show you is over in Premiere Pro. There's a lot of ways now to get this into the project. This is just a totally blank project, and this is the project panel. So because I've already moved this, there's no need to do anything fancy. I can take individual pieces of footage and drag them in, or I can even take these already organized folders and drag them in. Now, just remember, once you make this import, you no longer want to mess with this. If I go ahead and change this after the fact or change these file names in the Finder, that's going to mess everything up. But so now here we are, and I guess I wanted you to see that not just the 4K footage that we were able to see. Hey, sweet tea. But also the footage that I took in the 1080 format that we couldn't see before now becomes playable. So again, there's a number of ways to do this, and some of them automate the moving process and put it in a certain place. Some of them do the naming process or do the tagging on the way in. There's many possibilities, but this process where you locate your footage on your card, move the footage to your hard drive manually, and then import it by a second drag and drop, basically making the links and importing it into Premiere Pro, is the technique that I think is just easiest and the first one to learn, and then you can build out from there.